Hanjin Park sat silently in his classroom, enduring the endless chatter of his classmates. The door swung open as Mogul, a bully with an arrogant smile, marched into the room. Mogul bragged loudly about his online sales, flaunting his newfound wealth to the students. Without warning, Mogul slammed Park's head onto the desk, demanding respect and money. Park took the beating in silence, remembering the promise he made to his father. 2 years ago, Park had lost everything in a lawsuit filed by the Nexus gang. His father had to sell his precious gem just to pay the settlement money. Walking home, Park was cornered in an alley by 3 thugs who recognized him. A bald musclehead dragged him by the collar, mocking his past reputation. Park gave the bully a cold, bone-chilling stare that made the thugs freeze in fear. Suddenly, a well-dressed man appeared from the shadows, watching the scene with interest. Junuo opened a bag and tossed a massive stack of cash at Park's feet. He told Park that this money was for his legal fees, so he should stop holding back. Park asked the man why he was doing this, but Junu only mentioned a common enemy. With a single blow, Park obliterated the bald bully, shocking the other thugs. He told the mysterious man that he only needed 4 seconds to finish the rest. They relocated to a luxury skyscraper where Junu revealed his true identity. Junu explained that Chansu Kim, the leader of Nexus, was now living like a model citizen. While his victims rotted in poverty, Chansu was profiting from the gaming scene. Junu offered to pay for everything, including Park's father's gym, in exchange for his fists. The next day, Park walked into his school with a newfound confidence. Mogul was back, threatening students to buy his expensive new clothing line. Park approached him, asking if he truly believed money was everything in this world. With a single earth-shattering punch, Park sent Mogul crashing through the desks. Park realized that in this world, money wasn't just currency, it was status itself. He continued to wreck Mogul, giving him 0 chances to defend himself. Mogul pathetically called out for his friends, but they were too terrified to move. Mogul pulled out his phone, threatening Park with a lawsuit for assault. Park ignored his threats, continuing to stomp on the bully's face with indifference. Desperate to save his life, Mogul managed to crawl out the door and run toward the gym. He begged a massive student named Song to save him, offering 2 million won for the job. Park arrived at the gym, pulling a stack of money from his jacket without a word. He told the musclehead to stay out of it, and the giant immediately took the bribe. Park grabbed Mogul by the collar and threw him out of the second-story window. A teacher witnessed the event and screamed at Park, calling him for expulsion. In the principal's office, the teacher mocked Park's poor father, trying to crush his spirit. Park lost his patience and silenced the bully once more with a soul-crushing punch. A high-level lawyer from KR suddenly entered the room, changing the atmosphere instantly. The lawyer revealed that Junuo had already dealt with the principal's secrets. Mogul was expelled on the spot, and Park walked out as the winner of the day. Mogul was expelled on the spot, and Park walked out as the winner of the day. The news of Park's return spread through the back alleys like a wildfire. Junu sat in his high-rise office, watching the stock market fluctuate alongside Park's victories. He decided the next move required Park to enter Donggan High, the heart of the regional Nexus chapter. Park stood before the massive gates of his new school, his hands shoved deep into his pockets. Inside, a gang of thugs was already waiting, sensing a new prey to devour. Park entered the classroom and walked straight to the back without acknowledging anyone. A local leader named Aom Cho slammed his hand on Park's desk to assert dominance. Before the bully could speak, Park's fist connected with his jaw in a blur of motion. The entire room fell silent as Aom Cho's body slumped to the floor. Park adjusted his collar and looked out the window, ignoring the chaos he just started. In the shadows of the gym, a redhead watched the scene with a pained expression. Dongyan remembered the day his dreams were crushed alongside his leg. He had fought beside Park once, and the price had been his mobility. Park found him later, standing by the lockers after the final bell. He offered his hand, promising that this time, money would ensure their victory. Dongyan turned away, refusing to let his friend risk everything again. Meanwhile, the school's broadcast system crackled to life with a chilling announcement. Gang Cho, the leader of the school's Nexus chapter, declared war on the legendary transfer student. A massive mob of students armed with pipes and bats began to converge on Park's location. Park stood his ground in the center of the hallway, cracking his neck as the first wave arrived. He moved like a whirlwind, each strike shattering bones and breaking spirits. For hours, the battle raged, leaving a trail of unconscious bodies in his wake. Just as Park's energy began to fade, leaving a trail of red-haired bodies burst through the doors. Just as Park's energy began to fade, a familiar red-haired figure burst through the door. Together, the two legends dismantled the remaining Nexus forces with brutal efficiency. Gang Cho watched the total collapse of his forces from the security monitors. He reached for his phone to call for backup from the city's elite fighters. But the door to the security room was suddenly kicked off its hinges. Park didn't say a word as he grabbed the leader by his throat. Gang Cho begged for mercy, offering money and status to be spared. Park simply showed him a digital transfer on his own phone, courtesy of Junu. With one final strike, the regional chapter of Nexus was officially disbanded. Later that night, Junu and Park stood on the roof of the school, looking over the quiet city. Junu warned him that the real heads of Nexus were now taking notice. An invitation arrived at Park's door the following morning, sealed with a golden crest. It was a summons to a private underground tournament hosted by the corporate heirs backing Nexus. Junu recognized the names involved, the most ruthless predators in the business world. They weren't just looking for a fight, they were looking to buy Park's loyalty or end his life. As Park prepared to leave, he noticed a red dot centered on his chest through the window. A high-caliber sniper round shattered the glass, missing his head by mere inches. He rolled to his feet, grabbing his jacket as more bullets riddled the walls. Outside, a fleet of black SUVs surrounded the building, blocking all exits. A man in a white suit stepped out, holding a phone that was already ringing Park's number. Park answered the phone, his voice a low growl of pure killing intent. The voice on the other end told him that the game had finally begun in earnest. Park realized that Dongyan and Junu were also being targeted at that very moment. He burst through the fire escape, leaping toward the nearest SUV with a roar. The fight for survival had moved beyond the school walls and into the heart of the city. As more men emerged from the shadows, Park saw the symbol of the true Nexus elite. He stood alone against an army, wondering if even Junu's money could save him now. Hanjun Park stood at the center of the stadium, surrounded by an army of elite athletes, hired to end his life. He remembered his father's words about the weight of a punch and the responsibility of strength. Across the arena, the corporate heirs of the Songsun group watched from their luxury box like gods of a new world. Dongyan Kim moved in tandem with Yonggan, their strikes carving a path through the first wave of goons. Junuo sat in his car, his fingers flying across his tablet as he liquidated the last of the Nexus-linked assets. The elite javelin expert lunged at Park with a spear-like strike, aiming for his throat. Park gripped the pole with his bare hand, the metal groaning under his monstrous grip. With a single focused blow, he delivered the core-shattering punch his father had taught him. The athlete was sent flying across the stadium floor, crashing into the concrete barrier with a bone-shaking thud. Chansu Kim descended from the stands, his face twisted in a mixture of excitement and pure hatred. He asked Park if he truly believed money and a few friends could change the natural order of the predator and the prey. Park simply removed his jacket, revealing a torso scarred by the wars of the past 2 years. The final clash began as the two strongest fighters in the country collided in a blur of motion. Chansu's foresight allowed him to dodge and counter, his strikes landing with surgical precision on Park's joints. But Park's endurance was no longer human, fueled by the collective suffering of every student Nexus had bullied. High above, Junuo sent the final command to the stock exchange, officially declaring the Songsan Group's hidden subsidiaries bankrupt. The corporate heirs in the VIP lounge began screaming at their phones as their net worth vanished in seconds. Back on the floor, Park caught Chansu in a grapple, pinning him against the concrete pillar. Chansu realized his foresight was failing because Park was no longer fighting with logic but with pure instinct. Park unleashed a barrage of strikes that shattered the last of Nexus's pride and its leader's resolve. The stadium fell silent as Chansu Kim lay unconscious on the blood-stained concrete. Dongyan walked over, his injured leg holding steady as he placed a hand on his friend's shoulder. Junuo walked onto the field, adjusting his glasses and looking at the ruined empire they had dismantled. He informed them that the Songsan heirs had been arrested for stock manipulation and illegal gambling. The reign of Nexus was officially over, and the schools were finally free from the shadow of the gang. Park's father reopened his gym, the sign glowing brightly under the city lights once again. Hanjun watched from the doorway as children began to enter for their first lesson in discipline and honor. He realized that while money could start a war, only a true heart could bring lasting peace. Choi appeared beside him, handing him a drink and teasing him about his newfound fame as the street legend. He playfully swatted her away, but the look in his eyes was lighter than it had been in years. In his high-rise office, Junwoo looked at a picture of his late friend and raised a glass in a silent toast. The debt had been paid in full, and the money had finally served its ultimate purpose. At the police station, Chan-soo Kim sat in a cold cell, his reputation and power completely stripped away. He was no longer a victim or a monster, but a man who had reclaimed his life with his own hands. The sound of training echoed from the gym, a promise of a better future for the next generation. Donghyun waved to him from across the street, his rehabilitation finally complete as he walked without a limp. They walked together toward their old neighborhood, leaving the scars of the war behind them. The city began to glow with its nightly lights, no longer hiding the shadows of corruption. Hanjun Park had proven that true strength was not in how many people you could beat, but in how many you could protect. Justice had been served, the money was spent, and the street fighter was finally home.